welcome everybody to the sound of crunkling chip crackers. Crunkling chip crackers? Crackling chip packets is what I was trying to say. Try saying that 3 times fast. Hello everybody. So, with Novo no longer talking over the top of me, my name is Elkavash and I am the storyteller, and this is Invictwitch. We're playing Exalted's 3rd edition, as you can see up in the top corner over there. I keep forgetting that this camera is mirrored. And we have a full complement of people here today. Yay! So please say hello to Culture Shock, to Keltamer, to Paradox, to Plucky Hero, to Veru, and everybody's favourite, Avis. Come one, come all, de novo. So, a lot of things have happened. I haven't got the last couple sessions up on YouTube at the moment because I'm having some problems with getting whitelisted for some of the copyright things that I'm doing. So I'm going to have to email some people to get that done so I don't have to continually mess around with stuff constantly, which slows down the progress. But once that is fixed, they will all be up and running. In the meantime, let's get moving on to Invictwitch in the Shadow of Kings. And I forgot to open the document prior to starting because I am a silly person.
Yeah, Elk yelling at everybody else to get ready, and then like, oh god!
No, now that I've gone live, I've forgotten everything! What did you say it was called?
Last time.
There we go. Boom, boom. I don't love our music suite. Okay, so for the benefit of everyone who is here for a first time or a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming, especially those of you who are viewing us on YouTube post-stream. Quick rundown of the events up to where we are. Returning to the living world, the group have discovered that King Marcus is possessed by the spirit of Phoebus, told to them by Formica, the goddess of the land. She doesn't know why, but the soul of the young boy was ripped from her caring arms by sorcerous means. The players have realised that Jonathan has attempted sorcery and that this is the result. Sorcery done wrong doesn't not work, it works unintended. Formica has been caring for the body and soul of Phoebus at the desperate pleas of her daughter, Lady Pandaea Tydeus. Formica wishes to give the Nexigence to Marcus to help the land heal, but he cannot do so while Marcus and Phoebus are conjoined thusly. She passes into nothingness, as if giving up on life and the world, giving Hand and Kalis the lantern of her essence to pass on to the king at the appropriate time. Meanwhile, realm ghosts that have been left over since the last war have lost their eternal opponents, the citizens of Kaldor, taking the opportunity with the fluctuating Shadowlands essence to enter either the underworld or escape into Leith, removing themselves from the decades-long battles they've been trapped in with their hated foes. However, free from the nightly struggle, the realm troops have turned their aspirations on the living, and are set to attack the castle with the goal to destroy the man who defeated them all those years ago, King Alexander Marcus. Kalis, Hand, and Tarala figure out the location of the ghosts using maps and anthropology, and travel to the location in order to try and quell the coming war. There can be no such end, as the ghost generals have been driven mad and their souls now merge to some horrific amalgamation of teeth and flesh. They will not give up their thirst for vengeance, and so Hand proposes a duel. There is no need for armies to be slaughtered for what seems to be a personal vendetta. So in 3 days' time, 3 of Kaldor's generals will take the field against the 3 dragon-blooded ghost generals to decide the fate of King Marcus. But they don't want the land, just him. Dead. In between, a guild hit has been laid against Sagacious Hand, and the method by which he is attacked leaves him perplexed as to whether he is being hit or hit on. It appears the world would be... Thank you very much, Uver11X, for joining the channel and following us. It appears that the would-be assassin is a Fae, and Lord Carson has been arrested and is currently being interrogated in prison. The group would like to talk to him to see if Carson is still inside what appears to be a possessed man. Can he be saved? Can the others? Our heroes are battling against the clock to empower King Marcus with Formica's gift, to aid Jonathan in separating his uncle from his father's body, and to prepare 3 champions to finish a 30-year-old battle, and for Kalis to finally find the bees. Kapow! Plucky Hero is hosting us as well. Thank you very much, man. So that's our last time. Now, we've taken a break from our usual type of last time, being editions of free speech, because we've gotten so far time dilated now that it no longer makes sense for these to continue coming out. So what I'll do in future, I'll try and do the last times as free speech editions, unless it no longer makes sense to do so. In which case I'll switch to a regular last time type thing. If everyone's okay with that?
Yeah.
So, today's session. We open up in the Ebullient Excelsior. It's been a oddly restful night. After the return of De Novo, Heron, and Arthur Shasta from the underworld, the group reconnoiter inside the Ebullient Excelsior, and the two groups trade stories about what has happened over the last 3 days. Some of them have had baths, some of them have had baths interrupted. Some of them have given medical exams, and some of them have been given mysterious drinks filled with egg and other assorted things. But one thing they all have in common is that they're all here present in roughly the same location, thus allowing me to suggest that today, after first meal, everyone is able to join together at one of the front campsites near the gates of Kaldor and await the arrival of the emissary from the king himself. Is there anything that the players wish to do or discuss prior to moving on?
Can I just make sure that, obviously, our diplomat is present for this? Sounds an important meeting. I think Lotus should be there.
Yes, Lotus is present, as requested.
Fantastic.
She is her usual dashing and ravenous... Ravenous? Ravishing self? Is that right? Is that what I meant to say?
I think I'm rubbing off on you if you're eating that so much already, Lotus, in the morning. Leave some for Kayla, sir.
Kalis has had quite enough, thank you.
Kalis will be getting out his little straw and trying to like poach some of the food from a nearby cauldron that's been cooking while people are watching as he's waiting.
Okay, De Novo, I was about to ask you something, but yes, what do you want?
Oh, I wanted to quickly do the roll for Kalis's armor.
Yes, I was about to cover that.
Oh, perfect.
No, that's all right. That's exactly what I was about to come to you for, so you can make a roll. We don't have to discuss it a lot. So, cool. In the downtime, De Novo was chasing some bars of metal, which he has eventually gotten hold of, given that Kalis has signed off on it, and it's come out of his salary that he doesn't know anything about.
Okay.
And so De Novo's been supplied with some metal by Ilva Estagora, the Lady of the Ledger, and he has forged it into a new set of gladiatorial dueling armor for Kalis Kodan, replacing that which he lost in a foolish attempt to slide down the mountain quickly.
Was it foolish or was it amazing?
It depends. Did it kill a farmer when it landed?
No.
Ah.
Oh, I have a visitor. 1 second.
So, like, all I was thinking is there's a set of stairs leading down there. Basically, it's the equivalent of riding a sled down the stairs. What could go wrong? Terrible things can go wrong. Don't try it at home, apparently. Although I didn't realise there was twists and turns on it. I just thought it was like the straight steps up, so I thought it'd be insanely more easier. In my
It's pretty in character for Kalis not to notice that.
Yeah, I don't think it would have affected Kalis. He's pretty confident in his abilities to randomly do stuff.
But,
It worked out for the end.
okay, so I'm gonna do my stunts
You have a stunt?
for the armor. Yes. Well,
Okay.
more or less, I have a specific way I want the armor to look. So, the Nova is going to more or less whip the bars into into more or less lionine aesthetics and cover and basically intersect that with the disc that he has seen up here on Calus's brow on occasion. So, and in addition to that, he is also going to be very careful to measure pretty exact to Calus's physiology.
Cool.
I already rolled my base dice.
Is this
Oh,
medium
sorry,
armor?
Yes.
And it carries a mobility penalty of -2.
Medium armor is -1.
-1? Cool. It can take a whole minute of you fitting this to Calus,
Perfect.
doing adjustments, leather and stuff.
Yes.
Made more difficult, of course, because as you're fitting, Calus is using his extendable rod as a straw to try and steal some stew from a cauldron that's bubbling away nearby. Exactly 6 feet away, because that's as long as that thing can extend.
And as Calus does this, the Nova will keep flicking the rod away whenever it gets in his way. And so that's going to be it. I already rolled my 11 dice, but that got me 6 successes.
Cool. You can roll an extra 2 if you like.
Oh, cool.
While this activity is going on, Sagacious Hand, Shadow, who is still stealth and invisible to everybody else because Shadow just does that because he's weird.
He's a shadow.
Has his hand on your shoulder asking you if you're okay.
Yeah, I feel great. Best I've felt for a while. Why, you okay?
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what the effects would be were you to drink such a concoction.
What did I drink?
Oh, it wasn't poison, it's just, there wasn't any, like, meat in it, I suppose, unless do eggs count? You eat eggs. I'm pretty sure you've eaten eggs before.
Yeah, eggs, milk, honey.
Yeah,
All good.
Yeah, dairy, it's good. Alright, well, I'm just keeping an eye on you.
You're acting weird. You're
I'm not-
acting weird.
Weird.
Alright.
Did you mention eggs and honey?
Calus!
And you're seeming very exuberant this morning.
Yeah. Just passes the cup back to striking Balding. Yeah. You know, we've gone through an entire night. Things seem to actually start working. You know, we could do this. We might be actually able to handle this situation like grown adults with nothing going wrong for like one day. This is good. It's a good. I need a bath, but this is a good feeling.
Haven't you had a bath already?
I think I need another one. Have we got plans? We going somewhere? What's going on?
Yes, we're waiting for. I want to say Lord Wyatt, but it could be somebody else. I don't know.
Oh! Is that? Hang on. Grabs his cape, swings it around. Like, okay, no, I'm good. No, I feel great. Let's go.
Anybody else thinking Hans is a little bit different this morning, or is it just Calus?
Terrell's got the eyebrow raised, and it's different than the last couple days.
Optimism looks good on you, I guess.
Honey, anything looks good on me. All right, let's go. Come on.
We're
energy
not
light.
going anywhere, and we're waiting. They come to us.
Let's
But I-
knock. Let's
It's
knock.
going to take a few more minutes for the emissary to arrive. However, Denova, you have another craft roll to do.
Yes. Since he was purposely careful to conserve roughly 1 bar of metal, and Denovo decides he is going to do a minute of charity. He is going to melt the bar down into and artifice it into first a stem, then petals, then 5 major petals inscribed with the songs of the dragons on the virtues of charity, and then find the Lady of Ledger's chambers and drive that flower into a wall, and then melt it in place so it can't be removed without taking the wall down.
Okay. Does this give you a clear in-game advantage?
No.
Does it ping off one of your intimacies?
Yes. I've recently acquired intimacy of annoyance towards the Lady of Ledgers for her behavior towards
Do you think this is going to instill someone else with an intimacy?
Yes. I hope that it'll instill an intimacy of annoyance in the Lady of Ledgers.
Then take 2 silver experience and be done with it. And you also get 8 for the armor. No, 6 for the armor.
Fantastic. So that's a total.
No, sorry, 12 for the armor. Sorry, 12.
Okay,
12
so-
for the armor.
So 12 gold and
No,
6.
no.
Sorry.
12. Oh wait, was that a major
Sorry.
project?
The armor, yes. I rolled.
I'll have to go over that in a
I
minute.
did then.
I'll go over that in a
Okay.
minute then.
And you said 2 solar experience?
No, I didn't.
Oh no, 2 silver experience. Sorry. Yeah.
2 silver crafting experience.
For the
Shasta
flower.
and Tarala, and Heron, we haven't heard much from you this morning. What's going on in your heads? Anything
Well,
significant happened the last night?
Yeah. Yeah, Terrell's kind of being a little bit quiet given. There's no spark to her, let's put it that way. So, normally Terrella can be pretty upbeat, but any fire has been is down to just the tiny simmering coals, as it were. As she's just quietly eating her meal. Like, she makes the comment about Han being optimistic, but yeah, she's kind of just reflecting on the fact that family murder to Electric Boogaloo.
Arthur Shasta?
When not for the obvious reasons, but when Kayla started talking about how Han's not acting like himself, Arthur Shasta's gonna try and distract him with something, because he feels like this is probably Han's going through a lot of stuff. And he just needs some time to figure it out. We shouldn't really pressure him, but just saying that to Kalis would have the opposite effect. So he will try and find some way to distract him.
Distracting Caleb?
Whether or not he's like, look, I learned a new trick.
What is it, Johan? What have you found? Are the bees? You found the bees? Johan! Tell me where the bees are. You're saying they're in that place over there? Kalis is suitably distracted and maybe breaking into a random, well, not breaking into, but inquiring vigorously into what's inside this caravan.
Inquiring vigorously.
It's just a mild home invasion.
Erin, how are you faring after everything? Have you been suitably caught up?
that thinking face?
Oh, I think he's got a mouthful of food.
More or less.
Okay. So,
Though I actually, the one question I do have: am I aware of the shard for not shard, but the exigent essence for Marcus?
Sagacious Hand did reveal it to the group. Yes.
Yeah.
Revealing it to someone in particular, though.
Oh. Okay, so if we're going to have some smart quips, can we do them in the Twitch chat rather than in the Discord, please? Just so that everyone gets to read them, so it doesn't look like I'm reacting to nothing. Please. Okay, so after, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes of... I have another visitor.
I guess the question I want to ask for Avis is, are you broadcasting that you're doing this to Ilva's chambers? How are you finding her chambers, I suppose? Or
Well,
like...
his instinct would be to ask Hand. But if he can't find Hand, then he'll just ask.
So are you telling anyone that you're doing this, or...?
Well, he has the flower already sculpted in one hand and a bar of metal to make the webbing around it in the other. So, no, maybe like he would, unless you specifically ask, he won't tell you.
Okay.
So, after 10 to 20 minutes worth of waiting, Lord Wyatt finally enters down and out through the gates of Kaldor. One of those little doors within the giant door opens up and he sort of just steps out and approaches the group. He gives everyone a good hearty hello, and says an especially hearty hello to Arthur Shasta and Sarah and De Novo, because he hadn't seen you the last time he visited.
Sagacious Hand shakes his hand vigorously and pulls him in for that sideways man hug.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. No, to answer your question, De Novo, which I asked you to put into the Twitch chat rather than the Discord. No, he doesn't. He has fully recovered from his stint as a tree.
It was a stunted journey. We're all stumped as to how it occurred. Good thing we were barking up the wrong tree.
Why don't you make like a tree and get
It's
the
a pretty
fuck out of
thorny
here?
issue. It's a pretty thorny issue for the guy. You gotta leave him alone.
You see, he says that he brings word from the castle. Lord Dalton, I think was his name. I better just bring up my notes. That would probably be better than guessing.
Carson?
Carson,
is
that's
the
the one.
one.
Carson is the one I was after. Thank you very much. You are correct. Forecast.
No, I keep track of NPCs that may have a romance fling with one of our party members, little old JP there.
That's right. Dalton was
Yeah,
the
I'm pulling
super
your head,
old guy.
JP.
Yes, Carson is finally awake and able to communicate, but he is refusing to speak to anybody in the castle and has specifically asked for Sagacious Hand before he'll do or say anything.
What? Did you say why?
He's
No.
it seemed rather infused about you though. Creepily so, huh?
Alright, what's the protocol here. He's... What, I just walk in and say, hey, how you doing? Why'd you stab me with a knife? What's...
That's how I do it.
Yeah.
I believe I have stabbed you with a knife as well. Well, thrown a knife at you.
What?
Is that irregular?
What?
What?
You know what? Yeah, no, yeah. Let's go speak to Carson. Are there any rules? Are you going to be in the room? Can we all go? How's Jonathan? Is he okay? We should see Jonathan.
Those are the questions.
Haven't you been capital crime?
No. We've settled that, have we not?
Yeah, very good question. Where am I standing on this? Because I had brilliant plan. They're like, haha, and I was clearly not the murderer because I was not expecting Carson. So yeah, look, I'm right there with you. Let's talk to him. Let's go.
Yes.
Oh, and before we forget, your castle may be infested with Fae. Is that the correct terminology? I look to De Novo. Is it infestation of Fae? I don't know the terms.
Infested with. So first it was ghosts, and now it's Raksha.
I do not believe they're related, though. I don't think you get one and the others move in. I don't think that's how it works. But I do not know the.
I'm pretty sure I played a card game like this once. Get a demon and you yell out, "Bingo!" It's great.
That is not helping hands. But
No, it's not.
That,
It's certainly
that sounds
ticking
great.
over.
That sounds great, game.
It's quite invigorating.
Right, I'm gonna grab breakfast and we'll walk on up.
Okay, right, of course, yes. So, yes, for the meantime, suspicion has been lifted from Sagacious Hand's shoulders. However, depending on the result of this conversation, we might have to end up executing one of our lords, which is not something that's been done in this kingdom ever. So naturally, the king is hoping that there is some other explanation, that there is some other weirdness going on that can clear Carson's name.
He did seem to be acting odd, and don't worry. Kalis will keep an eye on him, so he can not get into any more trouble.
Lord Wyatt, we have managed to go and speak to the ghosts on a diplomatic mission from Kaldor. Yeah, they exist. We've got 3 days. I've managed to talk them down. We have managed to talk them down. We've managed to talk them down from an all-out war to just a duel. So 3v3, generals done, 30-year-old battle finished. No further casualties. Like
You're welcome.
I might leave that one to the king to discuss with you.
There are 3 of them that are one, apparently.
Absolutely, but in like going like intermediary, it's you need to know these things. So letting you know, and then we are a go.
A quick question, Lord Wise.
Yes, Lord Sohai.
I will take it. Anyway, those three dragon-blooded generals, which were slain, incidentally, they are, according to my companions, they are now all inhabiting this. They are all amalgamated into some tooth thing. It's complicated. Anyway, were any of them a sorcerer by chance?
The triplets.
Yes.
Please understand that to a layman such as myself, the powers gifted by the dragons and magic and sorcery seem all as one. I would not be able to say. I'm sure that I'm sure that we'll be able to find some information to help you, but I would not be able to answer that for you right now, no.
What is triplets?
three people born from the same mother at the same time. Well,
like
there's a
twins,
sequence
but
to
more.
Like Arasea and Nymphea, they're twins, but they don't look alike.
Yes.
Ah,
We can make them afraid if they want one.
do you think they accepted my apology, Lord Wyatt? What did you just say to Novo?
I suspect you might take it the wrong way out of context. Never mind. I assume every mistake.
Have you had your tea this morning?
I had better. I had vengeance.
We will probably come back to that, but for now, let's go and speak to Carson before. And Kalis doesn't know what's going on, but he's going to give him a reassuring pat to Lord Wyatt and lean down and say, I'm sure everything will work out fine. We'll keep an eye on him. Do not worry.
Okay. I'll lead you through to the castle and down into the dungeons where you can have your conversations. The king wished for me to convey his appreciation and trust in you for this matter. What?
Kalis will be raising his hand to hand, looking really excited, and then pointing to the amulet he's got on. The slight Oh, by the way, we have an amazing gift for Caldor. By we, I mean mainly Alpha Shasta and Denova have made it, but obviously, as I've declared myself the champion of Caldor temporarily until you better defeat, it's the Star of Caldor's champion. Look at it, it's amazing. It is also magical.
Yes, it is a stone that pacifies ghosts in the area tonight.
But not Faye.
Yes, which is probably bad timing, but if we didn't solve your Roman ghost problem, it would probably be more helpful.
Also, Lord Wyatt, could you do me a favor? A small one.
I guess, yes. Lord Sorhai?
You might want to start getting some iron out of your armory.
No, look, we'll just talk to it. It'll be fine. Look, he moves to Denovo, takes his hand and just puts something in it, closing his hand back over. It's like, it'll be fine. We're all set. Let's go. And opening
I was about to tell you the same thing.
Handful of strawberries.
I was about to tell you the same thing, my dear hand. No need to worry. After all, you're only the most appealing person to a fair folk here.
I'm the most appealing person to everyone.
No, appealing in the same way that strawberries are appealing.
Uncomfortably in her shoes.
Appealing as in eating you.
Yeah, Arthur Shasta is also going to be thinking back to an awkward bath he had the previous evening.
Denovo, you need to eat those strawberries because for any talk of eating people, we're a bit too early before breakfast.
Oh, okay. Then allow me a visual aid. Denovo bites the strawberry and shows. Some fair folk are quite literal in their prep. You
works for me.
Don't worry.
Fair folk are monsters. We get it. Carson, Castle. Yes.
Yes. Shall we proceed? Unless anyone has any more chatter. Moving up through the castle, towards the castle, should I say? You get the sense that the opinions in the town haven't shifted since the first day you arrived. People milling in the streets as you're walking through still sort of stop and gawk a little bit, especially at Sagacious Hand, pointing fingers at Hand and Kalis and Arthur Shasta, in that order. You can hear the whispers of interest flow through everybody. You can feel the feeling of awe surround you as they gather and look on. This town, you feel as if the wind at your back is their admiration and praise to you. You have done good work here and they appreciate it, no matter what the nobles are saying or what you're accused of. You have their support. And that is starting to be reflected in the upper houses as well. Mason greets you at the doors of the castle quite heartily. He offers you a tray of snacks. It's extremely meager. They have used up pretty much all of their surplus that they had gathered prior to the diplomatic talks starting to go on, which are scheduled to start today. And he is ready to escort you down to the dungeons unless anyone has any questions for Mason.
Sagacious and sees the platter and is just like, no, look, go see Ilva, and just kind of grabs a piece of paper and starts writing it out, pops it in Mason's hand, hand around his hand, is like, go see Ilva. This has dragged on way longer than anyone thought. Just tell her, open the carts, grab the pineapple, bring the pineapple out. It'll be great. It will be great. Let's go. Mason, I've seen what your troop can do. Come on down. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Pineapple, sir. Pineapple.
Anasis.
Anasis. Very good, sir. Signals a few of the footmen to come, and he gives them the note, and they start scampering off. But otherwise, you're escorted down towards the dungeon.
The noble's gonna stop hand and laugh. Well done. I was about to actually suggest that your heathen might be of some use here.
That my what?
Your heathen.
My what?
I believe the novel does not like the Snow Princess for some reason.
Don't worry. I'll show her light.
Best not to worry about it. Kalis kind of took care of it, but not really, I do not think.
Is everything okay?
It will be. Do not concern yourself.
All right. Well, you kind of stopped me in the hallway to say, just so you're not concerned, don't concern yourself.
No, I was just hoping to applaud your use of a heathen. Well done.
Of a what?
I think it means not a follower of a faith.
Yes.
Are we? Who are you talking about?
Snow Princess? You know the lady of religion?
No, you're calling Ilva a heathen.
Because she would not give him free stuff.
Charity is, I have strong precept for the dragons.
Don't worry, we took the metal out of Kalis' wages, which I don't know what it means, but everything should be okay now.
Okay.
Carson, yes?
Ilva as a heathen, that is, I kind of really want to tell her that. Oh no, I need to tell Bolton. I am going to tell everyone that, because that is hilarious. Ilva as a heathen. Okay.
It's not heathen, it's heathen. Heathen is
heathen as a heathen. All right. She is honestly the most upstanding and virtuous, pillar of stability that is the entire Ebullient Excelsior. It would not be able to exist without the amazing strategies that she puts into place. So, you know what? Good job for not just handing out stuff without first checking, because that's her job. But yeah, look, if I have not made it clear, hands both on De Novo's shoulders, if you need anything, please just let me know. It is not a problem. Just talk to me and we'll work something out.
De Novo calmly lowers hands and smiles serenely. Do not concern yourself. It is perfectly normal. I will see to it. And then he keeps walking as if nothing happened.
Okay. Is to Kalis, is Ilva okay?
probably for the time being. But
Am I
we
gonna get
will
in
sort it
trouble?
out later.
Okay. Okay. All right. On we go. Falls into step besides Tarala. Going around her shoulder, sneaking some treats into her top pocket, and just go.
Did you just reverse pickpocket Tarala? Should I expect a bottle cap mine in there?
+1 for reference.
All right, banter more or less done. Let's go. Unless anyone has any questions, I'm just going to very ebullient with enthusiasm.
I will say, if any reaction from her is very muted, like it is not the same as anything. Like anything that would have been normal for this. So yeah, assuming you weren't being actually subtle.
No, absolute no subtle.
The closer you get to the lower basement levels, where the dungeons are, the more you can feel a pull. It starts in the heart and drags down into the belly. And it seems to be directed downwards, and yet the energy of this pull is elative, as if it was pulling you down, and by its very touch, filling you with radiant power to then erupt out of you from the crown to the sky itself. Entering into the dungeons, it's one large brick room with 2 rows of cells, with a row of cells on either side, with iron bars just set into the stonework. You can see that some of the doors are sort of broken, their locks sort of dashed apart and opened out. But on the further side of this dungeon area is a seat with Carson sitting on it, wrapped in chains from shoulder down to ankles. You could not get a more secure fastening on any human in the entirety of creation. But for all he is bound, he does not look trapped. And the moment that Sagacious Hand enters the room, his face lights up with elation. Even more so than he was before. And there's a shift towards the group. And the chains rattle and he doesn't get very far. But you can feel that urge to move towards the group still there, as he's not straining strengthfully. He's not straining with his full strength against the chains, but he's leaning into them. So if they were not there, you could be certain that he would rush towards you.
Sagacious, what music would you like to have this talk set to?
Oh, that is a good question. You know what? Just looks to Carson. Can you feel that? Can anyone else just that? And just like gestures down the length of him, just that pull into of something.
This place is a special place.
Yeah. Do you feel that? He asks Carson. Is his mouth bound, or like he's just smiling?
No, not bound. Is there something more here than you? Tarala, this is Carson's voice, but with a tone and intonation very unlike what you have become used to. even with those short conversations in the ball. It's much more... He languishes on his vowels more. Stretches out the sentence to really, pardon the expression, fill up the mouth.
Tarala, she waits a little bit. She's gonna listen to see a little bit more of how he's talking, just to see before, because again, there's also the possibility this is the dungeon talking. She wants to see if it seems more an influence, because she's again not entirely sure what's going on. Everything happened. She's working everything out in her head right now, very herself, but she will. She's going to give him a little bit more time before she mentions anything to anybody else, language speaking.
Okay.
I know it takes a few minutes, but Arthur Shasta did interact a little bit with Carson during the party, and this definitely seems a lot different from how he behaved before. So I'm going to kind of sit back and let Ham do this out, but I'm going to be judging him for like speech patterns, sort of posture, other signs, and I want to do a profile person roll on him once I've accumulated some evidence.
Okay.
Can Denovo prick him real quick? It's alright.
What?
Can you prick him?
Things know the what?
Well, he's bound to a chair and can't move, so I suppose there's nothing stopping you.
Sure.
If that's what you want to do.
He's going to draw an iron pin in his...
No. If our friend is who we think it is, right now we're having a conversation. If sharp objects get involved without consent, and just kind of winks at Carson, there may be trouble.
All right. Then Noah puts the pin back in his satchel and draws an iron cloth napkin there, and he's just going to. Have you never seen that thing?
Did you say an iron napkin?
Yes, an iron cloth, basically an iron shop bag.
That's a thing?
It is
an iron napkin.
Well, it's mostly used as a cleaning rag, but yes, that is a thing. Do you not know this?
Are you talking
No.
like a square of like iron chainmail, maybe, or?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because when you just say iron napkin, I just imagine a square of iron that you sort of. Oh, I'm conspiring here.
I was imagining something equivalent to steel wool myself.
Yeah, steel wool. There we go.
Okay,
like iron
all right.
wool, basically. There, no stabbing.
So it's iron wool.
Yes, and he's basically just going to walk up to Carson and does he have any exposed skin aside from his head?
No.
All right. Then Nova looks at his still metallic arm.
Stop! Denova, stop!
He's just going to.
I would like to restrain him, if I may, because this seems like a very bad idea.
Oh, you want to really? This is how you want to start PvP?
Okay, hang on. Maybe I started that music a little too early.
In fact, actually, what Cadis will do is, in fact, instead lift the chair with Carson, like, away from him and playing keep away, so he can't hop.
Do you want to make this a competed agility test?
Because it looks like you're going to like hurt.
I'm going to stop you both right
prisoner.
now. Stop you both right now. How do we turn this no into yes ands?
All I want is to see if he's directly infected or if he's being actively possessed.
All I'm doing is supporting the chieftain who wants to chat and doesn't want him harmed. So
I'm not intending to
I
harm
was
him.
just reminding everyone about the eclipse powers. That is
yeah, that's why I was.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not intending to harm him. They dislike iron. I'm not gonna stab him with a towel.
I think once we have people strapped to chairs in dungeons, the eclipse power.
Yeah, you kind of already killed your goodwill when you trapped them anyway. Like, it doesn't work. You can't engage every new conversation as if you're on a new business. That kind of really undermines the legitimate business bit.
It very well might.
Well, I think it's more that, showing signs of hostility and so I think keeping someone bound captive kind of, at that point, diplomatic relations have failed.
I mean, we don't know that technically. We haven't tried and tested this theory. So worst case scenario, everything goes horribly wrong, right? No,
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's just forget I took out the dragon. You can continue talking.
We sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Kalis kicks up a tune.
A relaxing Baroque piece. Sorry, you hit me with what sort of music, and I froze a little. I'm like, good music?
It's okay. I'm playing Han's theme tune. I figured it would be appropriate considering this individual's unique interests.
Sagacious Hand is going to grab a chair from the opposite side of the cell, like drag it over and drape himself over it, kind of swing back and go, well, you wanted me, so you got me. What is going on? What is your name? Because this... you got me. I was not expecting Carson. Kudos.
You can call me
But
Jim.
you are not... Call you what?
Jim.
Jim. That's different to James, so alright. Going some casual here, alright. Jim. Have you met my friends?
Glances around. I'm more interested in you.
Why?
How does it feel inside that flesh of yours?
Pretty damn good. How about you?
Alas, not so good.
Can you feel what he's feeling?
Oh. Not as confident as you. Not as sure of himself as you.
Sagacious Hand's going to lean forward. Is he still in there?
First time they haven't
Okay.
liked everything I've done.
What's it going to take for you to hop out? Can you hop out?
How about a kiss?
Hard pass. Like to get to know someone a little bit better before.
Arthur Shasta sort of chimes in and says, based on my understanding of your injury, you should refrain from foods or doing any vigorous activity with your tongue for at least 3 weeks.
An even better reason to get out of Carson, yeah?
So you came. They actually sent you. I wasn't sure if they were going to. They seem to desire this flesh. It's quite unexpected. I don't enjoy it though. So what's next in our little game? What new piece are you going to put onto the board? Plucky, to roll 1 die, you just get rid of the triangle bracket 6, so it's just exclamation mark roll space 1d10.
Before starting a new game, I want to figure out how this one seems to have ended before moving to the next
New
move. because-
game? I don't think we're
Yeah.
done with the first one.
I don't think so either. But I wasn't aware we were playing a game until we were almost done. So I want to know, what did I do to have someone such as yourself take such an interest in me? Because I'm feeling that it's not really me that people have an interest in, it's usually my friend Kalis that people have an interest in.
He doesn't see what you see when he looks in the mirror.
All right. Was I right? Are you, Jim, that fox symbol on everyone? And it starts listing off the names of the attendants. It's like, are they you as well?
Oh, you're much further along than I thought.
Mm. All right. Well, I'm further along, but Sagacious hand stands and starts spinning the chair around by the leg. I don't know what to ask at this point, and I'd like you to get out of Carson, but unless you do that, we're not really going to be able to continue much more of anything.
You know, in all my years of considerable power, I have never even once considered this an option. Although now that I do, I find myself wholly unable. Sorry. It looks like he's mine. And I'm just gonna have to live with that.
Was a way? What if there was a way?
Is
a way
there?
to move you out of where you're currently residing into some new fantastical form directly here for us to have a more private conversation. But I'd like to get to know you more. I need an actual name that isn't Jim. I don't think Jim suits you.
He almost blushes. Name is whispered in the secrets of your society. Sometimes it's suggested that I've done things that I haven't done. I find that oh so complimentary. I am the Silken Kitsune. I have taken the best of the luxurious nature of your myths and legends and made them whole within myself. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. You couldn't possibly find all of me. So this was a match to get to know you better, so that when I do come for you, you won't see me coming.
Hmm. One moment, I need to buffer, and I may have an idea for a stunt. You guys do your thing.
I, Lord James Carson, did truly, willfully, and vengefully murder the diplomat from Krivia, Lorelei. How's that for a confession? Everything you needed? Not too pretty to hang.
Hmm.
You should ask him about the meat monster.
Sorry, hand? Cat got your tongue?
Yeah, I don't know what to do. Not really in my wheelhouse. I don't know what to ask. So any of the occultists have any questions? Or based on anything that it's said so far? Kalis has asked about the meat monster.
Arthur Shasta will tap your shoulder and say, "We are not unfamiliar with the Fae and the Dreaming Sea. It's from their predations across that area that it gains its name. If you may, I may be able to engage in a more provocative form of questioning. I guarantee that, while it will be uncomfortable for him, the damage will be temporary."
Yeah. We're stuck in this situation where Lord Carson is going to hang if we can't, or drawn, quartered. I actually don't know the rules here. But he's possessed by this Fae, is going to confess the crime. Doesn't necessarily mean that he did it, but then if we somehow figure out a way to, and just starts going through, it's like, do I just get blamed for the murder again? So I don't know what, like, we need to get Carson, but apparently they're okay. What about the other ones, the other 7? There's 7. Now,
What is their rank and status? Some of my techniques might be experimental, so I'd rather perform them on someone of less stature and useful to us than James Carson.
Sorry to interrupt.
Elk, if possible, try and make an intimidate roll against him, because basically I'm not outright saying it, but what I'm saying is we're gonna torture the hell out of this dude. Like, that's why I'm confident. Like, I could amputate all of his limbs and put him back on. So, like, there's very little damage that Arthur Shasta can undo. And I don't think everyone else gets that, but I'm trying to make it clear to him that I can inflict some serious damage on him.
Yes, and
I think you're bluffing.
I'll give you a 2-point stun.
As they're rolling, Kalis will casually mention, I wonder if Carson's back has got some new artwork on. Perhaps a new tattoo.
Oh, I don't know. You might have to unchain me to take a peek.
You were securing him, Lord Wyatt. Was there,
It's getting awfully physical with some of the guards who were who were charged with detaining him. We felt it best to secure him quite tightly.
Sounded like a job for Caldor's champion. Kalis nods knowingly.
Well, if anyone can do it, Kalis, I believe it would be you.
9 successes to intimidate.
And what do you want to accomplish with this? Because intimidate is essentially a persuade action, except instead of targeting intimacy, you target their fear of physical or mental harm.
Yes, I mean, what I'm saying is, I think I can get more information out of him through torture and through the section. So, hopefully, when he sees that Arthur Shasta is totally legit about this, that he might be more willing to divulge some information without me having to spill a lot of blood.
Okay.
And he doesn't seem terribly worried about dying, so this entity's fey, this might just be the thing that gets him off. So it's a bit of a gamble.
Arthur Shasta's suggestions seem to have the desired effect. Carson is at once excited by the thought of new sensation, but there's something in him that recoils at the idea. You're not quite sure what the nature of this Fae is yet, but you can tell that its nature is at odds with Carson. It has mentioned him as an insufficient meal. It doesn't like residing in Carson, and you get the distinct impression that if it could just leave, it would. It seems it took Carson as a matter of necessity, and he is somewhat regretting the choice. So what questions would you have me answer? What would you want to drag out of me with your threats of violence, with your threats of torture? What could you possibly want to know so deeply that I could impart that would want you to harm this beautiful vessel?
Injury is a temporary state. I'm willing to inflict that on someone I would consider a acquaintance in order to fulfill a goal of mine. But sorry, I apologize in advance if some of my questions are redundant. I have obviously been out of town for the past few days, so I've missed a few of your shenanigans.
Shenanigan? I like that word.
But unlike our good friend Hand, I am a little more direct and less obtuse than he is. Specifically, why are you here? What is your objection? Talk about games. I don't believe that such trivialities are what drives you.
I was requested to remove Sagacious Hand from the equation of creation. The means by which wasn't terribly specific, so I figured I'd do so in the most enjoyable way possible.
Understandable.
Wow.
We all cleave to our true natures. Who would have wished? Who ordered this hit?
Oh, I don't know. Not specifically, anyway. Contact, let me know. Someone somewhere in the guild at some point. Somewhere in the chain of commands. I don't know how high, although such things are not my business. I'm merely a tool that others use. Rightfully well.
Well, it is fortunate that I have a deep abundance of patience, a preternaturally extended life, and that can stay here as long as it takes to get full answers to these questions. And Arthur Shasta will like snap towards someone, like, bring me parchment and ink. In detail, explain to me the intention of the individuals in the guild that you have contact with that bring the... Whether you have names or not doesn't matter. We'll take just full descriptions. We'll eventually be able to narrow them down. It is a city of millions, but just because there's a large data sample doesn't mean that you can't originally find the truth of information hidden within.
Oh. Thorough, aren't we? Very well. Because this may even serve my purposes eventually. I'll give you names of two. There is a man in the name of Teetering Boulder. Large, almost as large as your famed Kalis Kodan there, although he was never a pit fighter. Built probably just as well. Ebony of skin, bald, no hair to speak of, except those dark, ranching eyebrows, expressive when he really puts his mind to it. Deep-set, green eyes, which is odd for someone from the south. But nonetheless, that's who he is, and that's what he looks like. The other is Verdant Soul. A description I don't have. I know this person only by name, through letters handed to me by Teetering Boulder himself. Beyond that, I have no business with the guild other than what they send through their intermediaries. And in case you were wondering, I'm fairly certain Verdant Soul is a pseudonym. They love their shenanigans.
Yes, pretentious people fake names, right, James?
James, whoever are you talking to? He can hear you, but he can't respond.
No, sorry, he called himself Jim.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more comfortable. It certainly pleases this vessel a bit more than my full name. Such a mouthful, isn't it, Hand? Fills you up inside.
Try me. Leans forward. Come on. Full name.
How close do you get?
Arthur Sauce is actually going to put up a finger, and he's like, through experiences that I could not fully articulate and fathom myself, I understand that certain questions and certain phrases can be almost viral to the mind of some people like Creation, of some of those from Creation. I suggest that he not express his name at this point in time until we are sure that those of us who are capable enough of hearing it are alone in the room with them.
Wow! Like, even the name could do something? That's... How... Why on earth is something like you working for the guild? Like...
Why is someone like you
okay?
leading a troop?
Because it is marvelous. Which if is that the same response of you, that's sad, really? An assassin? You could be so much more. Someone absolutely terrified just of saying your name?
Sorry, one of the children just brought in some mail to me. I did not know they had gone out the front.
Neither did I.
Sorry, could you run that last bit by me again?
Why are they working for the guild? Like, why are they choosing, like, are they choosing to work for the guild? Or are they, trapped? Like, are they okay?
One does the best with the lot they have been handed.
Alright. He looks to Arthur Shasta excited. It's like, okay, this I can do. It sounds like someone has hired you and you've been sent against me. Basically, someone's using you as a tool, and I love stealing other people's playthings, especially when they're targeted against me. So, how about this? Do you really think that we can't find you? Because I reckon we can. I reckon that is the next step in the game. Every single part of you found, caressed as gently as possible, and pulled out of every single person you're inhabiting to be in one complete form. If we could do that, what would you give us in exchange? Here we go. That's the question, isn't it? What do you desire? Lean back on the chair.
Is this an attempt at social influence?
Yep.
I'll give you a 2-point stun. Other players can interject with thoughts and feelings at any time.
Sorry, I just haven't been sure how to interact with the scene.
That's okay. I'm just
I'm
letting you know.
also not fully recovered. I'm just here. I will interject when I have a good idea.
Apologies, viewers. Dux has had a long trip from one side of a country, a continent, to the other side of the continent. So
I was on a bus for 4 days, guys. And then I had to stay outside a ferry terminal all night.
I would like to instill a desire to play with me.
Phrasing.
Play along with me. So willpower, and so that's 4, 5, 6 successes. Followed up by a read intention. How much do they want to play with me?
what do I want? What do I want? Well, how about this? I would ask that if, by some miracle, you were successful and we continued this game through to its fullest, and you were to discover my true location, and bring me together as you have so luxuriously described, then what I would want, what I would give you, the truth. I would harm not a hair on your head or the hair of the head of any other person whom you care about or shelter under the umbrella of your protection. And in return, what I would want is the same from you, that you or anyone under your purview leaves me right alone. That way I could be a passenger, a passive viewer and onlooker, an observer to the wonderful things that you bring to creation. I so do adore your shows. I have seen almost all of them.
Almost? Did you miss one?
I must admit I wasn't present in the battlefields some 20 years ago. A bit before you came to my attention. I do find that the ultimate shame, that I missed your debut out into the world.
Seems like you're trying to make up for it by witnessing our final performance.
What better way to see where you've been than to stand in your shoes, quite literally. I'm sure you'd enjoy it.
Mm.
I know Lorelei does.
Okay. Sagacious Hand stands up and looks at the rest. He's like, okay. Good deal, bad deal?
Terrible deal. Never make a deal with the fair folk.
Yes.
Why? Everything I've heard is that they keep their word. And
They keep their word after a fashion. He said that he wouldn't hurt a hair of anyone in the Excelsior, but it doesn't mean that he wouldn't follow us and kill everyone in a village the moment we step foot in there. They're not a part of your act.
Boss, Arthur Schuster, correct me if I'm wrong, but I suspect that this entity may also be the mysterious meat monster that we've encountered, perhaps related in some way. Those bits of the body are not. Those bits of the body are not within the hair. They're like.
Oh, do go on.
That obviously he did not say anything about what he would do with the insides of a body, and hunting hair is incidental if the rest of the body is in disarray.
No, please continue. This is marvelous. Please go on. Go. He doesn't actually do that because he's chained to a chair, but you know what I mean.
See, even Jimmy here likes Kayla's comedy. I tell you, this show could be a real hit.
De novo? Sagacious hand specifically looks to him. What?
I defer to Upper Chef. He is his homeland.
Is he muted?
We didn't catch that last bit. Sorry.
Oh. Upper Chef says to the best of frequent counters.
I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out, dude. I'm not hearing any of that.
Okay. I'm saying that Afrashasta's homeland is one that deals with fair folk frequently. I am inclined to follow his judgment on that.
Okay. Sagacious hand then will move close to Arthur Shasta and put an arm around his shoulder. Okay. Then give me something that's as tight as you can make it. As absolutely binding of something that is clearly as dangerous as you say to and it just kind of like, I need your words.
Are you asking me to draft a contract between the two of you?
Yeah. Wait, just
it'll take me some time. I'll probably need Sarah's help to go over the legalese and make sure I'm referencing the proper standards and statutes. I'm not entirely familiar with the legal code of this system, but I'm not sure I would recommend that path. From my experience, I believe the best course of action is experimental surgery, and if Lord Carson unfortunately perishes in there, which I think is an extremely unlikely situation, but if that were to occur, in some ways it may be the best case scenario. At least his soul would then move on instead of being consumed. I'd rather take another trip around the wheel than have my candle snuffed out now.
oh wow. Really? Just like on his shoulder, like leaning down. Really?
That's an infection. When you have a game, you don't try and talk it back into being well. You cut it off.
Oh, hello, Aragorn. Thanks for the follow.
Sad.
Aragorn.
I mean, I'd like to point out from my previous demonstrations of my skills as a surgeon, I present to you Lord Wyatt. I do not think this is a likely outcome, but I'm just saying, worst case scenario, it would be better for the host to die than for us to make a deal that we don't fully understand the ramifications of. And as clever as you think I am, no matter how airtight a contract I find, sooner or later it is the nature of these creatures to weasel out of the deal.
Well, what about you, De Novo? And he basically spins on his heel, taking a step towards him. He's like, you know what it's like. You've made a deal with the spirit. How does it work with you?
Laksha are not spirits. I would caution to draw too many similarities between. Once again, in this, I have dealt with Raksha, but I am far from an authority on this.
Are you serious that in this actual situation right now, I'm the authority? This seems to be something that is just... This is a story, this is a game, this is something to just... Passion gone a very different way, and just spins on it till it goes, here is an idea. If we manage to pull off the fantastic thing of pulling you into one place, if we can do it, if I can do the illusion...
You are essentially behaving the way the Raksha is. Understand that, and you understand how to deal with it. It thinks of reality as a game, and that as a show, as you will.
Yeah.
But then that's
if I
all you
pull
need
off
to know.
what it considers an impossible trick, then you are mine.
Yes,
Everything
but it will
I
still
say,
need to
anything
eat.
I want, bound, absolutely.
You do know
You
it eats
belong
souls,
to me.
right? And that is not a preference. That is how they survive.
That's all right. I can teach you to be vegetarian. Let's go.
No. I mean,
moves forward, hands on his thighs.
you need
If
to
I
dream.
pull off this illustrious escape of you, Jim, I get your name, and you are mine. Bound in chains, because you seem to like that. Let's go. Anything I want, anything I say, I will teach you to be vegetarian. Come join my show, and details to be expounded upon later, because anything I say goes. And I'm going to make a flirt persuade action. Yeah.
Go for it.
The absolute submission to Sagacious Hand if he pulls off this trick.
Two points done.
2 points done.
I've given out 3 of those today already.
We're on fire.
If not,
Okay,
you
I'm
soon
going
will
to
be.
spend some essence.
Put it out! Put it out!
Okay,
I blame
we have
Trala.
spent so that's 2 successes already, followed by 6, 7, 8. 8 successes total.
Whew. 8.
And I'm going to be lowering its resolve, hopefully, by its desire to play a game with me. If that even hit, I don't know.
You said you were going to do a read intention, but you didn't end up rolling it.
I did actually. I rolled.
Oh, did you?
2. Yeah.
Oh.
I rolled.
No, I'm sorry. To be yours. Tell me, Sagacious Hand, are you a gambler?
Unfortunately, yes. What do you have in mind?
You didn't strike me as a gambler. It's interesting to know. If you can do what you can do, which I know is impossible, which you seem so confident that you can uproot and change and bring me forth into this world in a manner so much more surpassing how I am now. Yes. I'll be yours. I'll do as you say. And like all of your most prized possessions, you'll love me, and you'll take care of me and make sure no harm comes to me.
There
that a
it
deal?
is. There it is. I see. This is what I love. This exchange of where you're finding out I'm a gambling man. You're finding out that I have a respect for Arthur Shasta, and then finally I've got that little kernel that's really confirmed. You want to be taken care of. You want to be kept safe. You want to be loved, which means that's something you don't have right now. Gotcha.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No one really desires that what they don't already have. Wait, was that a proper sentence? I don't know if that was a proper sentence.
It wasn't.
But sense was made.
From Kalis. Wise man say grammar needs.
Kalis, master of syntax.
All right. Now, you keep your word.
Of course I keep my word.
Promise. Promise.
For you. Promise anything.
All right. I am going to find that oath.
Are you now?
Okay.
I don't think there's a roll involved. He just spends some motes. I think it's 10.
Yeah, like 10 motes and 1 willpower.
Personal, peripheral.
So, personal. Sagacious is like, just go, okay. You know what? I suppose if it doesn't work out, then no harm, no foul. But yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that promise. And like the hands on his thighs is just he pulls himself back up to staying, running his hands from his thighs to his knees. Thank you. I'll see what I can do. As you feel the of the weight of what has just been promised settles upon the Fae.
No rush, Mr. Hand. You're on a time limit now. The most classic and easy of games. Hide and seek. Who's gonna find who first?
Bye, Jim.
So long, Hand. I'll see you soon.
Getting around the corner, Sagacious just starts bursting into cackles. I am so screwed. Alright, I've got like what, 8 now? No, we can do this. We can do this. We'll just. Okay. Man, that's both alluring and really creepy. That was great though. That's another win. That's another win. I honestly, to Alpha Shasta, I honestly thought you were bluffing, man. So that's you would be dark.
I don't know how we count for this as a victory. In what rational world would someone gleefully agree to be an eternal slave to someone? Unless that's what they wanted. I don't think we outwitted our foe in this matter. I mean, think about what you agreed. You will have this creature follow you through creation forever, as long as he neither hurts anyone of the Excelsior or you don't hurt him.
No, anything I say, including go home, as in go back to the wild and don't ever come back.
You put a lot of additional clauses in there that a trained mortal lawyer could plow through. This is a being of lie and deceit. It's not. I think the fundamental issue that you don't understand is not like this is a foe that you can match wits with or a rival or something in a game. This is a thing utterly alien and different than us. Its face that it wears, the words that it uses are just tools that it creates as constructs to interact with us, from those of us from creation. It is not alien in the way that gods in heaven are or demons in Melpheus are, but it is utterly and truly not of the reality from which we come from. To think that you can understand the mind of such a
going
being.
to step forward into Arthur space and, like, hand on the shoulder, run his hand down his arm. It's like, and isn't that amazing?
No, it is absolutely not. It's the hubris that you think you can outwit something like that when its cognitive structure in no way aligns with what ours are and how we conceive and perceive the syntax of words and the meaning behind them. Everything is a construct, and it views it slightly askew from us. What you think is the proper interpretation of things is not how it will appear to its mind, and that is how it weasels through.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, I think until this situation is resolved, which may be never, I should never become a member of the Excelsior. We should never become more anything than comrades. Because at that point, I am of your group, and I am no longer able to defend you from yourself and the threat that this creature poses.
What if we get to know it and help it and make it not a threat? Like, have you read a single story? Have you heard a single story ever of a Fae being good, of not eating souls, of being something special and amazing and unique in creation? Have you heard a single story like that? Because I haven't.
There are sharks.
I feel like you misunderstand what a Fae is.
That eat everything around them, but they have an ecosystem contained within their own bodies. They have krill and animals that cling to their flesh, and they have other fish not terribly dissimilar from the ones that they eat, that instead clean them and live around them. Because they are in that symbiotic relationship, it does not change the fact that the shark is a dangerous, deadly predator.
Like De Novo's cat.
Yes,
What?
for gods are a perfect example. They are not like people. They do not just change. For them to change would be to change their fundamental nature. It would not be like putting on trousers or one day deciding that you will not be a baker and instead be a blacksmith. Such shifts in structure and practice and function have reciprocal alterations in the nature of the being itself. Am I correct in this, De Novo?
In the essentials.
I'm just saying we need to be possibly a little more cautious in our dealings with this creature.
I feel like Han does not understand that it's not a matter of morality. A shark eats thing because it hates thing. It's not a matter of choosing to be good or evil. It has nothing.
And you better start figuring out a good plan, because you need to bring your A game. I once saw a sailor come into port, mind ravaged by the Fae, and all that he could say is they took him to the chasm with the trees whose crystals split the light in the words that no one knows the name of. And you were trying to surpass the amazing possibilities of a realm with no constraint. So, outdo yourself for your own sake.
Well, actually, I'm hoping you guys will be able to do that. We've got the way to do it.
Why?
You guys said that we're not going to be able to use that spell with Jonathan, that it's going to target Jonathan. This sounds like the perfect way in which he's already collected the reagents. We just pull off that spell that already exists, and we'll be able to pull them out of Lorelei, out of Carson, out of all. How many people are we going to save by this? Right now, definitely Carson. He doesn't seem too comfortable in the position that he's in.
My
I can't let
understanding
him
is that
die.
spell removes a soul, which this creature does not possess.
No, it like pulls parts together, and it doesn't have a soul, so it's just going to pull all the parts and make it in one spot. And
I feel
having
like
pulled
you
off
forget
the
detail of what this spell is. Not you, but you do recall that the entire principle of the spell is appealing to primordial nature of creation. Do you not see an issue in applying this to a creature which is fundamentally not of creation? It would be like calling together Odin's bird.
Just so you guys are aware, the spell does pretty much do what Sagacious Hand is describing, although Denovo is correct. You don't know if it will necessarily have the same effects on a being from outside of creation. Just
So,
FYI.
out of character, this keys off like multiple weird esoteric intimacies that Arthur Shasta has. So I could just go on about this forever. So if we want to not listen to me ramble on about weird essence constructs and dimensional metaphysics, please do. But he has a defining intimacy that the essence of a thing impacts it more, like the essence of something exists before it's formed. So like you are determined to be either a malformed or healthy human before you are even gestated. Whether or not you may or not have a soul of someone who is good or evil may or not occur before you exist. So he kind of thinks that as a fair folk, it is inherently an untrustworthy creature.
So what you're saying, if I understand all this very weirdly termed stuff, like for poor Kalis, De Novo is saying that they are not from creation originally, so the spell might have unforeseen consequences, huh?
Absolutely.
You are saying that a being's essence precedes its actions, and so the pattern of its essence, the tapestry that's weaved into its being, dictates the being's actions and what it is? Its nature?
To a large extent, yes.
So, between the three of you, motioning at Miss Sarah as well, we obviously have, so with your knowledge of that pattern, you could come up with a design. We have the Weaver, you, De Novo, to make the form, the fitting, and the action, and obviously Miss Sarah to assist. So what you were saying is we could remold this being, gather it all together, and make it a more appeasing essence pattern, so it isn't a problem to creation. That seems like a very win-win situation for us. Good work. I'm glad you're on the case. See, I knew we could have faith in our friends. And see, you're a brilliant leader. You're a brilliant leader. Unless I misunderstood you both. That doesn't seem to be in essence what you said, right?
That is a hypothesis that one could make from my claims, yes.
Then we would do it, yes? It's the best plan we have so far, unless anybody else has an alternative.
Sounds like the thing that people are most afraid of is the Fae, not that it's going to harm the people that it gets pulled out of, so it's the best plan we have to save them. Tarala?
Tarala just kind of strikes. I know nothing like beyond the stories that they're horrible monsters. Dragonlords put them down. I don't like that we've made a deal with it. I don't like that it's in Carson. I don't like that it exists. And I'm not a fan of the fact that it's going to continue to exist.
Would we just destroy something like that?
Why not? It would do the same thing to us.
Yeah, but we're better than that. Aren't we heroes? aren't we people empowered, as you said, that some higher power, some reasoning that if something that powerful chose someone who, even if they're mad, there must be beauty in that madness. There must be reason that we don't see.
Tarala puts a hand on Man's shoulder and goes, even among the dragons, heroes aren't always good people. It's not people that are good, it's people that are needed.
Arthur, when you say that about finding virtue in madness, Arthur starts to get this look on his face like, I hate when you use my own words against me. How dare you listen to the lessons I teach you?
Okay. So it looks like, other than discussing amongst the group exactly how to proceed, we've decided on a course of action. So what we might do is take our first break for today. It is a bit later than I intended. Kel, just before we do go into break, are you right for another hour or another 2 hours?
Another hour.
Another hour. Okay, cool. We'll make this break as quick as possible. So another 10-15 minutes, we'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. Please stick with us, and we will be back right after this break. and welcome back to our lovely viewers who are still with us today. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone on YouTube who has just clicked the skip button to get past that little break there. Hoping that you're all enjoying what's going on. Just before the break, Sagacious Hand has made a deal with a Fae that if he can somehow compartmentalize the Fae and find all of its pieces and force it into one form, that it will be Sagacious Hand's essentially slave from that moment on, do anything that he asks. And the only thing the Fae asked in return was that if that was the case, that the Fae would be protected by Sagacious Hand, and that Sagacious Hand would make sure that no harm came to it. The deal being struck, Arthur Shasta voicing his grievances, De Novo echoing those grievances, Jirala feeling like a Fae just shouldn't exist, burn it with fire right now. Discussions then turned to the sorcerer's spell that had been discovered and that Jonathan was preparing to use on his ancestors to remove Phoebus from his father, and, as has been hinted, potentially sacrificing himself in the process. I just want to remind the players that in this particular instance, there is only enough reagents for this spell to be used once. So it's up to you as to what you want to do. Where would you like to start the new scene? Do we want to discuss things with Jonathan, or do we want to move straight to preparing the spell? Anyone?
I wouldn't mind talking to Jonathan about his exact plans, and because last time Arthur Shasta saw him, he thought he was a sort of a 2-bit hack that was half-assing sorcery out of a book written by an idiot. And I have been forced to confront those opinions and realize they were wrong. So I would like to have an actual adult conversation with Jonathan.
Before you do that, is it okay if Kalis talks to Arthur Shasta?
Uh-huh.
It seems that we're probably going to have to talk to Jonathan if we are pressing forward with this spell.
I mean, he is the one that is the foremost source of information on it.
Phoebus gave us a warning. I'm not sure if you were around for that. I believe it was only
He
before
said
you
all
came back.
souls.
Yes. Would there be possibility to? Obviously, we do not wish Jonathan to be swept up in that spell's maelstrom. Is there anything you can do to protect him or modify the thing? This seems like your areas of expertise, messing with metaphysics. Is that what you call it?
It is, but I would need to speak to him more fully on it. It is like saying that Kalis is strong. That is true. That is a fact. But I mean, how is Kalis strong? Kalis pushes castle strong. Kalis walks the wall strong. Kalis is many types of strong that is not normally exhibited by the flora and fauna of creation. So to fully get the grasp of Kalis, one would need to, experience Kalis. So I really need to see and speak to Jonathan before I can make any determination if we could try and alter his spell or working.
Do you need Kalis' help for the trials of Jonathan's magic mastery? I can fetch
Couldn't
things.
hurt.
I can carry stuff. Whatever you need, my friend. I'm here to support you in your testing of this young man. I've grown quite fond of him.
All right, so I say, since we seem to no longer be under suspicion and allowed on the castle grounds, I think we should go seek out the young prince.
Yes. Let us do that.
So that's it. We're off to speak to Jonathan now.
Unless anyone else wanted to do something first.
Okay. The group finds is escorted through the castle as decorum dictates, but they find Jonathan in his chambers. The secret door leading to his little apothecary tower is open. The heavy scent of his cologne no longer hanging in the room. Seems he's lost his interest and taste for it. But you do find him here just sitting in a chair out on the balcony overlooking the courtyard below with the bundle that is Phoebus's bones in his arms. Just sort of looking out over the kingdom at the hills on the horizon, the trees dying in the distance. If this land was as verdant as it's meant to be, this would probably be a beautiful spot to watch the sun rise and set. It's a brilliant view. But it is marred by the skeletal trees, now ashen in colour, the churned blackened mud, and that thick, acrid black smoke rising from the chimneys of the wood that is burned. The heat. These cold days. He barely acknowledges you when you enter. Just a simple sigh of acknowledgement. His workstation is... There are books and parchments and scrawlings all over the place. A cursory glance from anyone can see that he's been doing some mathematical calculations of some kind, some theory notes written in. Anyone with the sorceress ability, being De Novo and Arthashasta, when you look over it, you can see that he's been working on the theory of the spell, trying to find ways to alter it, but even with your cursory glance, you can already figure what he has obviously taken several days to come to grips with, which is that it can't be changed. Not in the form that it is. You can see Heron can see his letters becoming more and more agitated the further along this process that he gets. This is likely the cause of his sullen mood.
Arthur Shasta will clear his throat, and I stole a vial of something from Jonathan from this very room when I found his book. And I thought he was an enemy and not a friend. So Arthur Shasta will clear his throat to get his attention, and he will take that vial out of his pocket and place it back on his table and tell Jonathan, when I took this, my opinion of you was much different than it is now. A lot of things have come to light. And I apologize for both taking your property when I thought you were an enemy and for thinking you were an enemy in the first place.
When he turns to look at you, his colour is almost pallid. His eyes a little sunken, dark rings under them. His cheeks even starting to appear a little bit gaunt. It's impossible for him to have starved himself into this state. Not in the matter of time that you've been able to observe the change, but this is a stark change to, a stark contrast to how otherwise healthy he looked the last time you met him. Just sort of shrugs and says, well, we've all been wrong about something. I'm sorry for trying to kill your friend. In that, I believe I was wrong as well. So, what brings you all here today? Were you able to get any information out of Carson why he would do something so terrible?
He has been possessed. I don't think it has anything to do with your country or the current events. I think this may be a problem that followed us here.
Small mercies, I guess. Is there anything I can do to assist?
I believe that Sagacious Hand has set forth a monumental task in front of himself, but I believe that he is more than capable of fulfilling it. I'm sure as we speak, he's engaged in some sort of antic towards his goal.
Hello. Sagacious hand says from the doorway.
Or he's behind me. Sorry, I've been deep in thought. It's been a complicated series.
Oh, please, come in. Can I offer anyone tea? I think I can call Carson. He can bring something up.
We can't call Carson. He's
No,
wrapped up in
I'm
chains in the
sorry,
basement. You could call Mason.
Mason, yes. Thank you, Hand.
Jonathan, buddy, you don't look like you've been eating. Are you okay?
I think I've solved our dilemma. I've found a way to free Father of his possession.
Ooh, nice dodging. Not what I asked. Have you eaten, young man?
Yes, I have eaten. That's a lie.
Okay.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. Okay. No, that's it. We're going to ask your dad. We're getting permission. You're coming down to the Exalted today.
What?
Come on, get dressed. Grab your books. Come on, everyone. Books, clothing. Come on down. Get permission from your dad. Come on, let's go. Up you hop. Comes hands under his shoulder. Come on.
There's no dissuading him when he's in this mood.
Sagacious Hand, when the muse strikes you, and you have the inspiration for a new act or a new song, would you allow me to interrupt you and drag you to the market, or ask you to help me?
If you ask me on a date, why,
some
yes.
No,
yes,
I mean,
would. Would I drop everything to spend some time with my dear friends? Yes, I would. So, I see what you're trying to do here. No, come on. Keep going.
Jonathan's call.
Sagacian just does the... You want him to sit here and stay with these books?
Yes.
I can move stuff. Happy to help.
I can notate what he says in between taking bites of food.
Arthur Shasta, you came back after spending 3 days absorbed in your studies because you forgot food and water. You know, just those little tiny things that are kind of important to people who are alive. And I admire your tenacity and your endurance for choosing something as ambitious as that. But he is 16 years old. He needs a break. I think we all need a break. So we'll just pick up the books and move to somewhere else, because currently he looks how you looked about 3 hours ago.
You are right, Hand. We should get JP to cook for us. I agree.
Sorry, there's some screaming going on in the background.
Arthur Shasta, Jonathan, tell me what you need. I will carry it. I am happy to help.
I don't know what's the nature of this meeting. Why? What are we here to discuss? Arthur Shasta?
I believe, Arthur Shasta, you had some guidance you wish to give young Jonathan? Something about the tester?
I wish to see his spell and see if I could assist him in its alteration. Arthur Shasta will look at Jonathan and say, I assume, based on your calculations, that you have come to the conclusion that we have also reached about how thorough it is in regards to finding and combining all the material.
tears again start to roll down his cheeks. He says, my father once told me that sometimes the duty of a leader is to sacrifice for their nation. I care about the people who live here more than I care about myself. So I have come to terms with what I need to do to make sure that my father can rule on, and I'm sure he would make a much better king than he already has, and I have messed up so many things already that I'm creating something, aren't I? Something new, something that would help, and I'll be a part of that, right? And
Sagacious hand falls to or not quite on the ground, but like crouches down and just grabs Jonathan in a hug, and tightly holding him. It's like,
Well, that's the opposite reaction I was going to do. I was going to slap him.
Wow.
what else is
In
there to do?
fact, I'm going to say I moved towards it and then hesitated because the hug happened. You're being an idiot.
Jonathan, you don't have to do this. Arthur Shasta, De Novo, they understand spellworking. They can help work you through this. There are no sacrifices need to be made. It's okay. We're here to help you.
We're not in the business of letting our friends do pointless sacrifices if we can avoid it, huh? You can't get rid of me that easily, young prince, huh?
I wasn't able to find a way to fix it. Of course, you're right. You would be much better at it than
No.
me.
No, not that they're better, just that look how many notes you've taken. He starts picking up. It's like, I have no idea what any of this says, but you've done it with such passion and just start to inspire him. Like, look how much you've written. These guys, they don't have to do anything. They just need to take what you've written. It's the same way as an artist having a masterpiece worth of sketches for a way that they wish to design a cathedral. But you don't have to be the person who actually lays that stone. But it'll benefit you to see how those stones are laid. And these guys, and starts, building up his confidence in them. Like, these guys, they know how to work with stone already. Between all of you, you can figure out how to make this wonderful without anyone getting caught in the gears. They're called gears, right? I don't know. I don't do architecture either. It's cool.
You have done all the hard work, young Jonathan, and it's these two people's job to swoop in and steal all the credit, just like I do in Hans' performances, huh? So...
To admit, your words encourage me. Okay. What do we do now? He looks to De Novo and Arthur Shasta.
Well, I believe that we have resolved the issue of the essence disruption, both on this side of creation and in the underworld. We have dealt with a significant number of the hungry ghosts and vengeful dead from the underworld. We've arranged a duel to resolve the angry dead in creation. After that point, seeing as how the population of Kaldor won't be ritualistically killed every night by your grandmother's spirit, I think things will begin to stabilize, and then we will have time to find a longer-term solution to your father's problem. I don't think we need to start immediately engaging in noble sacrifice. If we can get through the next 3 days, I think we will have the buffer that we need to resolve this properly.
Right. Okay.
But I would like to see all of your materials from the first working that you did that resulted in the situation in the first place.
Of course. I don't know specifically which one. I did so many. I can make all of the materials available to you if it means we don't have to go down this particular path right now. That would be in a word, wonderful.
So I have crafty observation method, which allows me to case a scene in seconds instead of 15 minutes. Can I just activate that to be like, oh, it's this notebook. I'm using it to hold up the corner of the debate.
Sorry?
So can I use crafty observation method to just case the room really quickly to find the material, since he's not really sure which book it particularly
sure.
is?
So sorry, you have the charm. Sorry, I was...
Yes.
Tarala, very quickly.
I was just gonna say that because of a skip on my end, it sounded like you said crappy observation method.
So, what Arthur Shasta's doing, folks, is in anime series and stuff when like the helpful friend finds the book that's needed, or like here's the report all along. That's exactly what he's doing, which is awesome. Good work, Arthur Shasta.
Essentially, it's a case scene action that takes a matter of seconds rather than 15 to 20 minutes. Yes, you don't even have to roll. I'll just give this one to you. Paging through the vast volumes that he's got, just sorting them through, you're able to find one set of research notes that seems to fit the profile of what has happened the best. Now that you've managed to look at this, you can see that not that the Book of the Black Circle is necessarily any good on its own. It would definitely take someone who has the inherent capability of sorcery to be able to see what he has found in it. It's just that since he's had no formal training, he did not know what it was he was doing or that he had done, and so he's sort of cobbled together this working that he has done over a period of time, which essentially you can tell by his notes that his intention was to call forth a ancestral spirit of his to guide him in political and personal manners, and his notes mentioned like to take the place of my father, because his father's become distant since his grandmother died, in place of my father, because like he was basically brought up by his grandmother for reasons that you already know. And so what the eventual result has been is that it's called forth his closest ancestor, because the ancestor he tried to target is no longer in creation anymore. She has passed through Leith, so it's impossible to call that spirit back from that process. And so it's come to the next closest kin, which was her brother, or his uncle that he didn't know about, and it's called that spirit, that knowledge and spirit, in to take the place of his father. And so that is what has possessed his father. If you want to supplant this working in some way, you won't be able to simply sever the connection, but based on the very rudimentary way that this working was put together, you can tell that if you were to just create some kind of counter working, perhaps either on Marcus himself or on another container that can hold this soul of some kind, to draw it to it instead, which would take precedence over the spotty wording that has been put together that's put it inside Marcus. Or you could, do a working on Marcus to make him essentially immune to possession, which would then repel the working, and they would still both exist, but they would cancel each other out. If that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking of a combination of both. Obviously going to put some more thought and research into this, but one idea is to create an effigy for the summoned ancestor to possess instead, but to try and maybe almost do like 2 simultaneous workings. This might be a De Novo and Arthur Shasta teamwork scenario, where one of us extracts the soul to put in the effigy, whereas we do a working on Alexander Marcus as we give him the exigency and have it like metaphysically make him a new person. Like it will kind of decouple him in weird ways that we may not understand, but I mean, when he's getting the spirit of the dead god of his territory, I could see that metaphysically changing you in a way that might not make him qualify as your father or in his stead.
Okay. De Novo?
Avis is not in a state to be able to play working at the moment, unfortunately.
Sorry, I missed that. It cut out.
Avis is not in a state to be able to do working, unfortunately.
Are you referring to yourself in the third person?
Sorry, De Novo.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the woman.
Okay.
No, he's not in a state to do kingdom.
We can work out the specifics of that later. But that's your general idea, is what you said. Okay. Cool. Do you explain this to Jonathan, or?
He starts suggesting this as a very rough, rudimentary first idea based on what little research he's done. Like it can be perfected. We can obviously we'll put more thought and detail in it. No offense, but that seems to have been the source of a lot of problems in this region.
Okay, so this other spell is no longer required. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure how I
That
feel
might
about
be
that. It's
a little more than is necessary.
Sagacious Hand. What's?
I'm pretty sure that we can use all those reagents and that spell. We know what happened with Carson is just after just like he was possessed. He was possessed by a fae. Like there's several people in the castle are fae. If we use that spell, we might be able to pull them out because Carson is still in there. So if we can get them out before your father executes Carson for murder, that would be great because we'll be able to save Lorelei, we'll be able to save Carson, those other 6 people, however many people there are throughout creation that are all part of this thing. We'll just pull it all together at one. Almost like what's that word? From the stories, like calcifying it into creation. I don't know if that actually works or not, but all parts together. That spell could work. Everything you've done, every bit of the thing, but target the fae that is inside Carson to pull it out.
To do it, first thing, air quickly saved a lord.
I have been helpful. He looks to each of you quite earnestly and just says, "Hey, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You've saved me, my father, this whole kingdom. Our debt to you could never be repaid. What? Why?"
I don't believe any of us ever truly ask much of anything.
I want your soul, says Sagacious and bursts out laughing. I'm kidding. It's good. You're an awesome kid.
I'm going to ignore them for a moment because we are almost done. Gathering the necessary ingredients together, it's not difficult to put together the rune down in the dungeon where Carson is being held. The whole time it's being assembled, he laughs and asks with interest what's going on, fascinated by the entire display. This circle of the candles and these materials being sort of strewn within the center. The whole thing has this odd... Sorry, yes, Hand?
I'm going to try and distract it with Kalis's help. So because it looks like someone's looking at this very dangerous spell. So I'm just going to distract it and start talking more and saying some of the stories that it's missed of my opening encore. Like to speak with Kalis to start playing some music and be like, this is how I started. This is what the Excelsior means to me. This is where everything has begun, and talking about the Battle of Nashaka, and inspire it with creation is amazing, and all these people are worth defending and protecting, and try and persuade it to feel the same way.
Okay. Give me a roll.
I will assist this stunt by also playing some scenes out from the routine differently. What could have been, based off what After Shastra is saying, that these things seem to be outside of our understanding. So Case gets the sense that doing something different might distract it or interact with it in a distracting way. So remember we were talking about what we do if this scene was differently. Let's do it now, Hands, kind of thing. To add to that distraction as I assist Hands.
And Tarala had said one of the tales was Catholic Karina, the righteous storm, where she and her legions faced empty sky, the foul ogre who utilized dread magics to turn half her troops into vile necromantic puppets to use against them, and just start regaling stories with the Dragonbloods did this really cool thing against this vile foe. But what would have happened if the vile foe won?
Okay, I will give you a 2-point stunt on that. You can roll your persuasion. While I'm finishing up this description, Denovo and Arthur Shasta, you're going to need to come up with an incantation to get this to work. I will let you think on that. So while the circle is set up, rimmed with candles, as is all rituals, the ingredients for the spell strewn about in the center, sketching out this room. The basement already thrums with energy. As soon as this rune starts to take shape, you can feel the energy around you solidifying, soaking down, and focusing in on it. As if the very foundations that the castle is built upon is somehow pushing this spell into being. Like it wants it to be complete, filling the gaps almost as soon as you yourself see something that needs to be adjusted. Like the world itself sings to its completion. And in the final moments, while the Silken Kitsune is still distracted, it comes the time to speak your will into existence. Over.
De novo, I would like to introduce facts real quick.
Okay. What fact?
Well, I already told Culture what I have in mind, but I'd rather step by step with you. I'm going to introduce fact, evoking the education regarding immaculate theology, specifically the place of the fair folk as creatures which are defined by being outside of creation, creatures which are beyond creation, creatures which are beyond creation's boundaries. So therefore, do not have a place in creation. More specifically, I would like to introduce the fact that immaculate theology states, however, that according to the very oldest myths, that is not universally true. There are fair folk which have a place in creation. They're just not called Raksha. I would like to introduce the fact that by definition, imperial texts state that it's possible for Raksha to be remolded into mountain folk.
I'm sorry, that last bit cut out. Remolded.
Into a Raksha which is bound to creation, otherwise known as a mountain, as the people of Adam and mountain.
What about the mountain folk?
Are you talking about mountain folk?
Yes, they're Raksha.
Yeah,
they're Raksha. They're Raksha, which were caught in creation sections. And we're purifying it through the primordial, and because you yourself said the rune invokes the very beginnings of creation when things were not yet so defined. So by your own language, that's sort of what I'm playing on. That the rune is basically invoking that very same imagery.
I suppose what I would have to ask is, what are you hoping to gain from this? Are you hoping to create a mountain folk person?
Yes, I'm hoping to basically introduce the fact so that I can proceed to slightly tweak the ring to basically, for lack of a better word, use creation as a filter for the pieces that are being sucked in.
Okay, I mentioned before that to alter the spell in any way, to make it do anything other than what it is already designed to do, you would need to do a sorceress working.
Okay.
So the spell has an effect. I'm happy for the fact to be introduced that mountain folk are people. I would probably put that at a low difficulty. That doesn't necessarily mean that this would result in a mountain folk, though. I just want to give you that heads up.
Oh, no, that's the reason I want to introduce the fact. But no, that was just like a harebrained last minute idea.
Not harebrained. It's a good idea. It just happens to.
Oh, no, I mean, like, that was
what
just
I'm working with.
That was just like a last minute impulse.
Okay.
No, I haven't really done any prep for that, so fine next time.
Okay. You can still make the roll if you like, if that gives you some sort of mechanical bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think it.
So the time for incantation has come. Do we have
words?
Jazz hand.
I think you will see I added an incantation to the chat.
That's my unimpressed face.
So, are you trying to get us invaded by the undead or messed with by alien robots? That's the question.
I mean, technically we already are being done by both.
Well played.
It's been a day.
So this can only make it better. And just, I guess don't say every single tiny syllable.
How about you, Dux? Do you have any cool poetry you'd like to add, like with Golden Heron?
I would actually like to note that Heron is astutely taking notes, and in the back of her mind, I don't want to say this for any particular, because I know Elk's not a fan of past lives too much, but I'd like to say, though I'm not, I'll have to discuss this with Elk after the session, because I've been thinking about getting sorcery for for Heron for quite some time now. But I like to say, in the back of her mind, there is the faintest hint of a memory almost taking upon her as she's watching all the preparations and writing down, taking notes. And she's trying to write it out clearly, but she's at a rare time of her life where she's at a bit of a loss for words right now. But as the preparations have been further, she's been able to start writing down some runes in Old Realm, but they haven't quite made a coherent sentence yet.
Just to clarify, I'm not against past lives. I'm against past lives taking over a campaign.
That's fair. I'm just using it as a
That's fine.
fluff justification right now for
Kalis, the big Kalis Moose Man.
I have put a small incantation rhyme for your use. Feel free to tweak it, but I think it's like pretty good for a spur of the moment thing if you guys are stuck.
So I'm glad you spoke up, because both as to pass the scene to someone else and cop out, Arthur Shasta is going to, once again, because he's into taking weird like poses and doing like Tai Chi type meditation, where he will stand at the edge of the room and take a pose to try and channel energy through himself to enforce that. And he'll look over at Kalis and just say, well, you constantly go on about how you are the ones who are properly trained on dealing with spirits. Kalis, show us the wisdom of your people.
Okay,
Take a
hopefully
roll
this
bonus
is
for sitting in
okay.
the spotlight.
Yes. Being lazy was never so rewarding.
I meant specifically because you've talked about his spirituality and the spirits of things, not copping out.
Oh.
You didn't get experience for copping out.
I'm being sarcastic.
sure.
Legion spread over creation space, answering to many. Now formless expanse become defined. In one place we bind to one exalted by the divine sagacious hand. Now's the time.
I could never rhyme like that.
Bind to one exalted by the divine sagacious hand.
And now's the time for it to appear. So
There's a
What happens,
surge
folks?
of peripheral energy as the stonework beneath you, this great golden light shines up through it, almost like the noonday sun aura that Arthur Shasta gives off when he is at his full might. Blazes up through the small cracks in the stonework at your feet. Carson seems to gag and start before coughing violently and vomiting up this immense tendril of silk, deepest red in color, just issues out of him like a row of handkerchiefs from a magician's sleeve, piling in upon the floor in the center of the room. Within moments, it's joined by several other strands bursting in through the doorway, seemingly come from different areas of the castle. Others streaming down in through the grills at the top of the cells, coming in from outside. Anyone with a head for numbers would lose count of how many threads just explode out from around creation and focus here into a bundle on the floor. It heaves. It shifts, as if something deep underneath it. Before one of the strands rise and ties its end to another strand, and so on and so forth until it's just one long sheet of silk. It twists and it turns and it folds, and before long, entirely made of silk, folded into the form of a fox, which we would recognize as origami. 6 foot from head to tail. Or should I say tails? 8 in total, wafting around behind it. Its flat head seems to take in a breath. Its eyes move. It pads on the floor, or curling up, and looking up at you. Carson coughs again. The light seems to return to his eyes as he asks where he is and what is going on. Which is where we end our session today. Congratulations, team. You have solved a future plotline, which was just meant to be foreshadowing in this mod. So I'm going to give you a flat 5 regular experience for that.
Wow.
Which includes the experience you gain for solving the dilemma with Carson and the murder of the Krivian diplomat. As you have discovered, it was not the Krivian diplomat who died. I'll give everyone their expression bonus. You've all been doing some nice role-playing today. But the only role bonus that I've identified so far is the one I gave to Arthur Shasta just before, unless anyone wants to put up a hand to suggest something.
Making deals to come to unified, like, eclipsey thing, where, like, to have them not hurting anyone, but also them not being hurt, so making deals with spirits.
Is that in the eclipse role?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Mediating between parties.
Yes.
I'm gonna admit full well, Terrell was kind of quiet today, and that's more because of.
No, that's okay. That's why you got your RP bonus.
No. So, no, I'm just saying that there's a reason why there was not really anything you could say for the role or anything.
Okay, we're certainly arguing for destruction.
What?
I mean, true. She was arguing for the destruction of Faye and everything. This might be the first time she backhandedly called Hand out. She's been pretty low, but yeah, that's new. I don't know if I would call that for a roll bonus, though.
I'm sorry I've been so quiet this session, guys. I really have just kind of felt out of character for the most part of it. Also, I feel like missing actually last session kind of affected. Like I knew what was going on, but I had no in-character connection to what was going on, if that makes sense.
That's understandable.
It's understandable. You've had a rough week. It's okay. What I will ask everybody is there has been some requests that I run the battle with the Dragonblooded Ghosts as a separate bonus session, which I'm happy to do. Who would be involved in that session?
Obviously, Terrell, since I think one of the requirements was specifically that she has to be there.
Terrala?
I mean,
Kalis?
I'd like to take part because Terrell wanted me to, like, re-landscape the land for the battle arena, so I think that's...
I was kind of hoping next...
battle?
I was kind of hoping the next session we could do the prep work and stuff for that. Like actually roleplay out doing the prep work and things like that. Though that will also mean the following session I wouldn't actually be available for a normal session, and I'm gonna be gone basically that entire week.
Is the reason why you don't want to do it in a bonus session, Cal, and get the fight over with and the prep work? Because I mean, I'm pretty much available. I can make myself available most times. So.
Well, the big reason was I was kind of because one, Terrell was going to try to get everybody get input because again, she is not a tactician. She is not a tactician. There's a reason why she deferred to Alexander Marcus as a tactician. It's something she's not. But I mean, if people want, I'd be down for having everybody try to prep the battle, everything like that. But again, it's a matter of just knowing the schedule coming up. That's the thing.
Okay.
So I think we can discuss this a little bit more outside, during the debrief.
Yes, we certainly can. Okay, so all right. So in that case, viewers, I'll just mention that we are likely to have a bonus session during this week. I'll keep everyone updated based on what we discuss in the post game. Thank you very much for coming and viewing. Especially thank you to Aragorn for coming and having a look and poking your head in. I was a big fan of Exaltwitch while it was running, and so it's just nice to see you poke your head in and have a look around. I hope you like what you see, and I hope you come back and view more often. Other than that, thank you again to our regular viewers, and for those of you who watch on YouTube, it's always appreciated, and we thank you very much. So you're basically the reason we do this. We're here to entertain ourselves, but also to entertain you, and hopefully we get to put more content out there for everyone as well. So thank you very much for watching, and if there's anything else anyone wants to say, now's the time. No?
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Farewell. We're signing off.
Thanks
Bye.
for putting up with me, guys.
Bye.